This video is going to feel a little bit different from my recent videos. They've been a little bit more polished. I've been very lucky to have an awesome video editor, and I've been very busy the last couple of weeks between a holiday and a conference, and so I'm recording one that's just going to be a little bit more organic and free-flowing. So I hope you enjoy. I feel called to talk about the concept of something I see a lot of therapists doing out there. I'm an occupational therapist here in Calgary. I do a lot of mental health practice, and I see a lot of other occupational therapists, psychologists, social workers who are wanting to manage burnout by creating an online program or course, something that takes them away from the one-to-one model of practice and towards something that's a little bit more scalable, potentially a little bit less day-to-day work. And I also like to refer to this as jumping from the pot into the kettle. It's something I've done. And, a few years ago, I was on a little holiday in Coeur d'Alene doing some reflection and trying to figure out what I was going to do to make a shift, because I knew something needed to shift. I felt like I was too busy all the time. And my mental health practice kept me really busy, and I was so grateful for that. As a business owner, that's exactly what you want. But my purpose for being self-employed was to have more time for my family, more time for my hobbies and travel and the things I enjoy. And so getting into private practice, I was on a path of being too busy again. And so when people would ask me, hey, how's business? I'd say, wow, it's great. I'm too busy. I need to find a way to reduce. And I tried a number of ways to reduce, including hiring contractors, hiring a virtual assistant, and those things were helpful. But it turned out having contractors wasn't sort of the vision I had for my practice, and it left me with more administrative work. Having a virtual assistant was really awesome. And right now I'm in a spot where I've created an online program that's fantastic and has that capacity to have more momentum without me having to provide a certain number of hours of one-to-one service per week. But here's the part where I jumped into the kettle. It has me spending a lot of time trying to generate visibility. So I have a YouTube channel. It takes me a whole day to put together a YouTube video, edit it, get it uploaded, and do all the things to promote it. So that's actually really time consuming for a 6-minute little video, or 7, 8, 9. It's actually the same amount of work no matter how long the video is. So the YouTube part is time consuming, but it allows me to reach more people. And I see where that has potential down the line. Spending a lot of time on social media. We all know social media is designed to be very addictive. And so it's easy to put in more and more and more hours, but more hours doesn't necessarily yield more effective visibility. It's about quality over quantity. And so, the old thing like work smarter, not harder. I feel like I've been working really hard and I'm back in that pattern, or still in that pattern of too busy. So that's where I feel like I've jumped from the pot into the kettle, and I'm working really hard to address that, trying to figure out what's behind that, where that came from. And I actually made a really big breakthrough at a conference on the weekend. I think I'm going to share it with you. It's new though. They kind of say don't share the deep stuff when you're in it, but I think this is a really good one to share. I made a discovery that kind of part of having ADHD that wasn't diagnosed until I was an adult, and being fairly good at school, being a woman who, being a girl who wasn't hyperactive. Hyperactive girls didn't get diagnosed with ADHD in the 80s. It was the boys who were falling off their chair and really disruptive. They could tell I was smart. They could tell I was capable of more, and so my high average marks weren't quite enough. So most of my report cards said, you know what, she's got so much potential, if only she'd apply herself. And that message, I think, got internalized over time. If only I worked a little harder, I might be more consistently on the honor roll. I had a lot of marks that were honors marks. I was doing a lot better than a lot of my friends at the time, but it wasn't enough. I should have been working a little harder. P.S. With ADHD, working harder, putting in more hours doesn't necessarily equate to better marks, better outcomes. And so many women my age are being diagnosed around now, often when our kids are diagnosed. And so a lot of those messages that are internalized turn into kind of that inner dialogue and behaviors to match. And so I'm working on kind of checking out that, I think the words I came up with at the conference were actually disappointingly close to great. Nobody ever said those words to me, I'm sure of it, but there was sense of underperforming. And that's a whole thing in gifted education that I've learned a lot about too, is that underperforming profile is one that can be really hard, because the messages are that maybe we're a little lazy and not quite doing enough. So I am putting together that inner dialogue, sort of this fundamental part of my building blocks, keeps me in the too busy pattern. Success in my I'm more than a year into having this Activate Vitality program, but success in it is just around the corner if just I work a little harder. And I actually am really opposed to the concept of hustle culture, yet I feel like I'm doing the behaviors of grinding out content, trying to talk to people, trying to connect, and putting in all the hours. So I'm now working on challenging that inner dialogue, that pattern that keeps me too busy, because peace, ease, comfort, those are only available in the present moment and not some point in the future. They could be in the future if I'm choosing to be in the present moment. So I think a lot of what I've learned about mindfulness through acceptance and commitment therapy has helped me to see that, right, I can find peace only in the here and now if only I put down the struggle. It's kind of huge, put down the struggle. I could do a whole other video on putting down the struggle, but it's a conscious choice of noticing when I'm in the middle of, oh, Carlyn, you're doing that. I came up with a visualization of the donkey with the pole on his head and the carrot dangling down. No matter how fast that donkey walks, no matter how many miles that donkey walks, he never gets the carrot. And if the carrot for me is peace and ease, fulfillment, I need to unstrap the pole. Nobody is holding it there. I have the capacity to unstrap the pole. I can eat the carrot. I can go at the pace I want. I can go in the way that I want. I can enjoy the carrot along for the ride. And so it's my intention now to embrace the peace and ease that's available to me right now and work smarter, not harder. So I've hired someone who can help me with maintaining the consistency of social media. I don't need to put in all those hours. I still want to connect, but they can help me schedule out content so that I can be more in the moment with it and use my time and show up and be me in those spontaneous moments while still being able to have some consistency of delivering valuable stuff that helps the people that I like to connect with online. I've got video editors to help me with the videos, even though they're not doing this one because I got a little behind, and that's okay. So those are 2 steps I'm going to be using to jump out of the kettle and not into the frying pan. Is it from the pot to the frying pan? The pot to the kettle? I don't know. I'm getting off the stove. I'm eating my carrot, and I'm going to find peace and ease in the moment by choice, by intention. I can only find those feelings of peace and ease by changing my behavior and noticing the thoughts and beliefs that feed that behavior. I can pause, notice, make a shift, and choose intentional behavior. And that's what I teach people through the tools that I have. I use acceptance and commitment therapy in my Activate Vitality program. It's designed to help occupational therapists get unstuck. Look at I'm living what I teach, and I love to help them, and we have a beautiful community of people who support each other. So if you want to learn more about that, you can book a call. I'll put a link in the description, and maybe I'll check back with you from time to time about how I'm doing with finding peace and ease, eating the carrot, not jumping into the kettle or the frying pan or the pot. Check out this video next if you're enjoying this content.